Hello everybody, welcome to the lesson on getting more private clients. This is definitely one of my favorites, making a greater impact in someone's life and grow your income, a sustainable income. So getting more private clients, some of the benefits are obvious, but I think we need to address those is first one, helping your clients more deeply by addressing their individual needs. You also get to develop a closer relationship with your student. And this is all, again, a way to create a more sustainable income in your yoga business. So I want to address a few things first and honor the fact that you might be scared working with clients one-on-one. Some people have never worked with clients one-on-one, and even if you have, maybe you don't have a lot of experience. So acknowledge the fact that this is different than teaching a group class, and acknowledge that it can feel vulnerable for both you and the student. One of the best ways to get started is by practicing with family and friends. Have them fill out an initial questionnaire before working with them. This gives you that practice of going through a questionnaire that someone's filled out and really addressing their individual needs. Now, it's also really important to make sure you feel grounded before working with a client. Whether that's doing meditation before you work with a client, whether that's doing your own personal practice, making sure that when you come into the space that you're fully open and present for them. Sometimes the initial first visits can be awkward because you're meeting this person sometimes for the first time. So it takes time to develop an authentic relationship, and again, honor that. So trust that yoga will work for them, as it has for millions of people for thousands of years. There's a reason that we're on this path. We saw tremendous change in our own lives. We saw the tremendous power in our own lives. And so by working with someone in an individual manner like this is going to be incredibly powerful. So first things first. Number one, learn about your client before your first session. One of the best ways to do that is an intake form or the initial questionnaire. You want to ask things such as, what is their yoga experience? Their medical history. This one's huge, obviously. You really want to get an idea of what's happened, what kind of traumas potentially in the past, surgeries or injuries, so you can address those moving forward. You also want to think about the expectations for the private sessions. What are they looking to get out of it? What are the goals? Also, whether or not they have the necessary equipment. And this is really important because a lot of times you're going to be meeting at the person's home or somewhere other than the yoga studio. So again, know what they have. Again, it's obvious, but it's also important. So really this comes back to all this is listen to your client. And when you're meeting with someone, just for example, you're meeting with a doctor. The doctor will ask questions and he'll see basically what's going on for you. He's going to sit back, he or she's going to sit back and listen so they understand currently what you're going through, and then planning a course of action. It's the same thing with working with private yoga clients. You want to make sure that you're taking the time to understand what they're going through. And this is going to give you a plan of action. So, number two, create a clear contract. Identify your business boundaries before promoting yourself. How much do you want to charge? One of the best ways to figure this out is look at what the going rate is in your area. And don't be afraid to charge what you feel you're worth. Because, one of the exercises that I have teachers do sometimes is before they actually sit down and figure out how much they're going to charge, think about all the benefits that people get from yoga, from working with you. What benefits will they get? If you are working on a particular niche, such as yoga for kids or restorative yoga for senior citizens, people in the older age brackets, think about it. What benefits will they have by working with you? Now, is it the same price if the client brings a friend or spouse? You got to think about that in advance. Are you willing to travel anywhere, or do you charge additional travel fee when you exceed a certain amount of miles? You don't want to be driving all over the place because, again, time is money, and you want to address that. So these are things to think about before you actually take on your first client, having these certain business boundaries and these expectations for yourself and for the business. And also, what is your cancellation policy? Again, if you allow that person to cancel last minute, that's time that you had intended on working. So laying, a 24-hour cancellation policy is usually standard for something like this. Now, this one, have liability insurance. Most teachers that I work with have liability insurance already, but I think it's important still to note here, I would rather be overcautious in this area. Every teacher needs liability insurance to protect themselves from the threat of litigation. Unfortunately, it's one of these things these days that you have to protect yourself. Even if you add a clause waiving your responsibility, again, you still need to protect yourself. If a client gets injured during a private session, you could be liable. Again, all of these are pretty obvious, but at the same time, it's important for me to address them at the same time. So number 4, develop payment packages. This is really your opportunity to develop a long-term relationship with this client, because that's often what they need. A lot of times they come to you, let's say they're coming to you for, say, diabetes. You do have to take the monkey off your back and say, I am not a licensed medical profession, so I can't diagnose or treat any disease or illness that you have. But with that said, with my expertise, I've been able to work with these people and see success, people like yourself. So depending on what their ailments and goals are determines the length of time that you work together. So that's why it's so important during the initial questionnaire to figure out what is the pain in their life. Where are they suffering? And then where do they want to go? So really you are figuring out what is their current situation, what is the current state of suffering, and what is the vision for their life? Where do they want to go? How do they want to feel? And when you ask those questions regarding what's currently going on and you review that and you understand, you review the pain with them, and it's a reminder that they really need this. And then you talk about the goals they have, the vision they have of where they want to go, then obviously that's typically a long-term solution. It's not something that's cured in one private session. So you're reiterating the fact that they really need to work with you for a longer length of time. And you also want to give them an incentive to purchase more up front. So if they do 10 sessions versus 5, then maybe there's a discount to do 10 sessions, but the requirement is for them to pay you up front. This gives you the security of making the money up front, and now your client is truly committed. It also eliminates the potential, awkwardness of having to wait to get paid after every session. So again, we're looking for that commitment from the student. You have to admit that they are facing pain, and then you have to see where they want to go. Again, this is trying to set up a long-term relationship. So bring all the equipment. Again, probably another obvious one. But to offer a comfortable and luxurious experience for your client, you definitely want to bring at least a yoga mat, a bolster, blanket, strap, 2 blocks, and even an eye pillow. Yoga Nidra is obviously an incredibly powerful practice, and allowing them to lie in Shavasana at the end and do a guided Yoga Nidra is incredibly powerful. And an eye pillow is, I love it. So consider a music player. Essential oils, Tibetan bells, or any other equipment to create the most special experience for your client. The more prepared you are, the easier it will be to create a beautiful experience for you both. So again, that's why it's important to envision how you want these sessions to go so that you have the right equipment when you show up for this individual. And adjust your expectations. Be open to what's going on with your client when you arrive for the session. You know, if you have a vigorous session planned out, but your client's not feeling well, we must adapt to what the client needs in that moment. It's all about, again, being open and grounded when you show up for those sessions. You might have all these things planned out ahead of time, and maybe that's not what is right for your client in that moment. So again, it's doing what's best for them in that moment and staying open and flexible. So we're releasing our expectations and being willing to teach to the situation that presents itself. Now, before I go into marketing strategies, I want to definitely say a few things here. And this is just an example here in the U.S. You know, obviously, most of the teachers in the program are all over the world. And so yoga is growing at a rapid pace, rapid pace. And I'm just giving this example because it's probably true in many countries. You know, 24 million people in the U.S. say they practice yoga on a regular basis. Now, of those 24 million, only 17% report practicing in a studio. So that means, again, your potential clients are everywhere. And there are another 45 million that say they want to practice yoga. There are so many people that have reported so many studies saying that they realize that they need yoga and meditation in their lives. Yoga has now become a mainstay, and people are becoming more and more aware of the power of getting into their bodies and the fact that yoga is a tremendous healing modality. So as a baseline, people pretty much know a lot of times that they need this. They've experienced it, or they've heard the power of it. So now it's just taking the time for you to listen in terms of what's going on in their bodies and explain to them how you can provide those benefits and results to take them where they want to go. So again, potential clients are literally everywhere. So number one, finding clients, your current offerings. Your students are already magnetized to your teaching style. You know, these students already know you, they like you, they respect your opinion, and they're more likely to see the value in working with you one-on-one. You know, you can talk to students privately about their progress and key areas for improvement and describe the growth they can achieve individually through private sessions. So we all have people that come up to us after class and talk to us. And what you can do is schedule a time to talk to them about one-on-one. Set your intentions. Listen, I love the fact that you want to learn more. Absolutely. Why don't we set a time to talk about working privately one-on-one? And this is an opportunity for you to find out what's going on in their life, to talk about, you know, where they're looking to improve. You know, the other thing that we've touched on when I touched, you know, in the website design lesson is, you know, this is an opportunity through your website. You know, you can give them a business card in person. You could have a page on your website that offers the services, and one of those hopefully is offering private yoga sessions. And you can have a video there talking to the person as if you're talking to them in person and explaining the benefits of working one-on-one, how they can truly address the issues in their life. Now, if you've really picked your niche and you're targeting these people within your niche, then you already can speak to the specific benefits and the results that you can provide for people. Again, this is a network that you're building for your brand so that everywhere the person goes, whether that's in person, whether that's going to your website, whether that's just anywhere online, such as your social media presence, your literature, whatever it may be, it's all speaking to the benefits and the results that you can provide for that person. What's in it for them? So as long as that is at the forefront of your mind in all of your discussions and everywhere that you are speaking about your services, again, you're keeping that client in the network. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, two, Avatar, who is your perfect client? This goes back to, again, the avatar of defining the demographics, the psychographics. What are the values? What are the attitudes? Where do you typically find your clients? What's their business type? Because the more that you clue in to who your perfect client is, again, where focus goes, energy flows. If you continue to focus on your perfect client, you will be absolutely amazed as that's the person that shows up for you again and again. So your perfect client, where do they spend their money? Where do they spend their time, their energy? That's something to think about, because where they're spending their money and their time is really, maybe you can find creative ways to get in front of those types of clients. Translate these ideas into places that you can connect with to network with your perfect for you clients. So an example is, if you're focusing on yoga for athletes, this is a great idea. Develop a yoga for triathletes or yoga for athletes workshop and offer the opportunity to work with you individually there. So you're creating the opportunity. Not only now do you have the income coming from the workshop, but now you have already aligned yourself with your target audience of who you would like to work with individually. So number 3, referrals from like-minded individual. This is huge. This is a really, really big one. This is probably my favorite, my personal favorite. So other health and wellness professionals can be a huge asset to your business. Huge. This can be an ongoing referral source, regular clientele coming in on a regular basis. And since referrals work both ways, you want to connect with providers who offer services you believe in. This is big, and could suggest clients to. Or think of other ways that the relationship could be mutually beneficial, like doing one-on-one sessions with them, for them. Find out what they've got going in their life. How could you potentially benefit them with your services? Also, reaching out to local chiropractors, nutritionists, massage therapists, or psychotherapists. Some of these are obvious. Now, I bolded psychotherapists because this is one of my favorites. Psychotherapists or therapists, counselors, they are there to help, alleviate suffering in their clients' lives. And they're often getting into just their minds. We all know that when you combine the healing of the mind and the body, incredible change begins to happen in people's lives. If people are just focusing on their minds, they're missing the big component of their bodies. Often we store our memories, our traumas, our emotions, our pain in our bodies. So one of the things I love to do, I actually did this for a while, was I reached out to psychotherapists in the Boulder, Colorado area. And I told them, we both know that often getting into, not only are you getting into their minds, but if they were getting into their bodies and connecting that mind-body connection, your client could see even more change. So creating a referral type of relationship where you refer clients to them, but also at the same time, what you can do is, if that person refers a client to you, if that psychotherapist refers a client to you, give them a percentage. Give them a referral fee. Again, what we're trying to do is start beginning to think outside of, I can only work in a yoga studio. Yoga is not just taught in a yoga studio, and you can teach your clients anywhere. So target markets. Where could you find clients who have a more of a disposable income and can afford to pay for private sessions? Example is corporate clients. They've said in recent studies that yoga and meditations are things they know they need to incorporate in their lives. They're always looking for an advantage in their business and in their lives. And many of them know that meditation is incredibly beneficial. Incredibly beneficial. We're going to get to, in a later lesson, how to find more corporate clients. But this is, again, starting to think of what are areas where people have more of a disposable income. People who visit spas often have a higher income, and they have to be able to afford those services. Reach out to them. Reach out to the spas and see if they would be open to having you offer private sessions for their clients in the spa in exchange for a percentage that you charge. Again, setting up that mutually beneficial relationship. And spas want to be aligned with yoga. They know it's incredibly beneficial, and their clients know it's incredibly beneficial. So if they have space within the spa for you to offer one-on-ones, again, that is a mutually beneficial relationship. So getting more private clients. Just to review, you have to clue in to who is your perfect client. Who can you really, really help? What are their daily frustrations? That's why we do the avatar in the beginning, because it sets up everything. Everything. Picking your niche, knowing the results and the benefits that you can provide for your clients, so you can speak to the pain that they're in, speak their language, and then finding those target areas where you can find those clients. Where do they hang out? What types of books do they read? Where are they spending their money? Where can you put yourself in front of them so they can understand the importance of working with you one-on-one? You can do this. And this is one of the greatest ways to create a stable income, a consistent income, and a higher income for your yoga business. And you know what? It's a hell of a lot of fun. Seriously. To be able to connect with that person in a deeper way. Some people prefer group classes, and that's fine. Maybe this isn't your path. But if you're like me, I love teaching when there's a lot of intention for the individual. And when you've clued in to what their pain is, and then the vision that they have for where they want to go, what are their goals? There is so much intention. And it can truly, truly be a beautiful, beautiful experience again and again working with this individual and seeing the change in their lives. Again, I hope you have enjoyed this lesson, and I'll see you on the next one.